Still back them, but it's
Yeah,
a little,
you
it's a little weird.
can't go there. All right. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Meet the Anglers. Anglers this time here at the Head-to-Head Studio. I'm your host, Matt Trotz, across the table. Are you ready?
I'm ready now.
All right. We got Brian Keller. We have two head-to-head anglers joining us today. On my left, Brandon Ruffalo.
Yes, sir.
And then Mitch Dawn over there. Otherwise, you can call him Aaron Rodgers. Now, that's what we were just discussing. Are you okay with that anymore?
It's okay. It's okay.
Are you? I would not be okay with that. I would run far away from that.
Yeah. Yeah, I
I've heard it so often, I'm fine with it. I'll own it. I'll own it, yeah.
I mean, it could be worse, right?
There's worse.
There you go.
That is a sad day. Now, are you okay with getting kicked off the Pat McAfee show?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know about that. I didn't even catch that. I just saw the update on it. I didn't look into it yet.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of Jimmy Kimmel either, so like I don't know what was said, but
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, all right, let's save this. All right, everybody. So obviously we're on Fix TV. We're also streaming to Facebook and YouTube, right, Brian?
Yes, sir.
So if you have any questions, Brian and I are monitoring the chat. But we're going to get to meet our anglers today, and you guys are both bass on the bass side, am I right? You're both bass fishing this year?
Gosh, I sure hope not, man. There'd be a couple zeros for me if that happens.
We're coming out firing right
I was
away.
hoping you were joking. I didn't know for a minute. I was like, whoa.
So you guys are fishing on the walleye side this year, and with all the information that's been put out to you, because Mitch was saying we have been doing our terrible job of communicating with the anglers so far this year. Wink, wink, right?
Right.
Now, talk about the excitement going into the year, and then as we get into that too, let's back up a little bit first, and let's introduce you to a little more. Talk about your fishing history and kind of all that stuff. Tag team, whoever wants to go first.
Oh man, so I've never fished a head-to-head event before, right? And Mitch kind of came up to me, hey, we have an opportunity to do this. What do you think? And it was a pretty easy decision for us. Great exposure, great format, way to throw stuff on the floor. That's fantastic.
I'm getting an echo. Are you getting an echo? No, it's just me.
I'm really excited to fish the format. I fish club events. He's fished a few club events, and we have catch picture release. But the catch weigh, the live format, super excited to try it out.
Yeah. Now, what other events have you fished before in the past, Brandon?
So I fished the National Walleye Tour a handful of years. Dating back to 2020, I fished I think six in a row NTCs. Sheboygan Walleye Clubs, some Master Walleye circuits, have had some mild success in a few of those. So I'm really excited. We have a great level of competition, and I'm really excited to get after it.
Yeah, I'm excited for the trash talk to start. Are you guys trash talkers?
I don't think we have to be. I think we're just going to let her. I mean, you can be if you want. I'm just going to let the fishing do it. Let the fishing talk for itself.
That's a great way to go into the event.
Say that now.
Right.
This is where I think this is going to get really interesting with this show. Because like when you fish in the past, right, it's that 1 5-day period and it's over. And you can let stuff slide for 5 days.
Right.
Anybody can. But it's week 5 when this guy's just been chirping over here. It's and that's where I think a lot of this is going to kind of come out.
Yep.
Like it's okay to be quiet, but I think a lot of this, as this kind of gets rolling, it's going to be like cameras are going to get forgotten about. Yeah. Things are going to happen. Things are going to get said. And it's going to get interesting.
And as the head-to-head commentators, we want that stuff. Don't be afraid to kind of don't hold back. Let it all out. I mean, we've had in the past, we've had some great, side bets, things like that. So let's let it start. I mean, we're here.
We'll have some fun with those, I'm sure. I mean, it's a great group of guys that's in the event itself. So I think we'll have some fun with that.
Absolutely.
Now, you fished in 2020.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
and
Winnebago.
Yeah, you were fishing on the Bago event.
Yeah, horrible.
Do you want to talk about that event a little bit?
Do I want to? Sure. I mean, I could talk about it. There wasn't much to talk about, but I don't know that many fish were caught on camera that entire event, but yes. I made it to the Elite 8 when it was the Elite 8 through Dinkfest. I was Dink Master. So it worked out well. It was a lot of fun. I got a lot of exposure for my sponsors. I was able to continue to fish. The fish that I caught pre-fishing weren't necessarily going. It's a different, back then it was no live bait as well. So it was a little bit different of a strategy. So I kind of stayed away from the other boats that were in the river, playing around, and I tried to find lake fish. Didn't really get on what I needed to, but it's a lot of fun. It was cool to cut my teeth there.
What other series have you fished as well, Mitch?
So National Walleye Tour, I cherry picked a few of them. Last year I did my first one as a pro. Master Walleye Circuit, I cherry pick a few of those. Cut my teeth in the AIM series, so jumped right into the AIM series with a good friend of mine, Kurt Yoder. Got our butts kicked. We paid our dues during that series. And then started fishing the Winnebago Walleye Series, which is just a club series with my dad. So did a lot of those and then cherry picked a few events regionally. Traveled to a couple NTCs, but yeah, mostly regional.
So out of those other events, like you had a pretty good finish. What was it, last year you finished high? God, this mic is just dropping.
That's why you put them on your pants, dude.
Dropping bombs over
Told
here.
you what's gonna happen.
Now, tell everybody about some of your events from last year.
Yeah, last year, I mean, I had one good finish and it was the right tournament to have the good finish in. I had a 4th place finish. I had a couple other decent finishes throughout the year in club events and other tournaments that I got into, but got a 4th place finish in the National Walleye Tour on Lake Winnebago. First one jumping in as a pro, so I got a little spoiled there. Found the right fish. It's held for me the entire week. Ended up taking 4th place. Threw back the fish because it's a no-call event. Threw back the fish that would have gave me 2nd place or 3rd place. Unfortunately, not 2nd, but it was a good learning experience and still came home with some money.
Well, you don't have to worry about that anymore.
Right. Exactly.
Because I fished all those no call events. That's tough.
It was a tough decision.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah. I mean, it was a half-pound upgrade, and like you're there to catch the biggest bag that you can. It was like a 2.5-pound fish, and I kept a 1 3/4 pound early in the day just because it was fishing different. I'm like, I just got to keep one right here. It was like 10 a.m. and I had my limit by then the day before. So it was just wrong decision in the morning, but at the end of the day, I mean, came out with 4th place. It wasn't too expensive a mistake. So.
Well, and it's a confidence boost, right, to get your limit.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people in normal events will fish for, that limit, and then when you have the ability to call. But once once you're in the box, there's nothing else you can do for it.
Right, exactly.
And what about you, like in some of your events?
So last year may have been the worst tournament season I've ever had. I had boat issues. I think I borrowed 5 boats. I actually borrowed Mitch's boat.
Borrowed 5 boats?
Yeah, I borrowed 5 boats. My wife and I actually borrowed Mitch's boat and took 5th out of it. So there's got to be some good magic left in that one for this year.
There's definitely good scratches in it.
You're right. Yeah.
From
Probably not.
Probably.
So yeah, last year was tough. My wife and I fished club events. We had a great year in club events. We took 2nd in one, we took 5th in another. Great, super exciting bites in the spring and late summer for me. And then, my major tournament season, the big tournaments were kind of tough. I just didn't do well, didn't adapt well. I mean, that Winnebago event, I was in it. We talked all week. I was on really good fish, all pre-fish, and I just didn't adapt well. In the past, it's funny, he talks about taking 4th, his first one as a pro. He fished as a co-angler on my first one as a pro in 2020, and I took 4th. So that's actually how we met.
Yeah.
It's just kind of crazy how that works out. We both taken 4th place in the National Walleye Tour in our first professional event. So that's pretty cool.
That is cool, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever fished together besides this start of this 2024
So never in a tournament.
Never in a tournament,
We fished together a handful of times.
Yeah.
We've done some ice fishing together. We've done some fun fishing on Green Bay, but never in a tournament.
We've worked together. I mean, I think the most time we spent together, we went to the NTC out in Lake Oahe.
Right.
I had a house. The people that I was with bailed on it. They weren't able to make it. So Brandon took his crew. We all talked during that tournament and then just started fishing together since then. So we've been talking about wanting to jump into a tournament. So we decided to jump into a full series.
Well, we're excited.
And have it all video live. Yeah. This is like the matchmaker.
So you'll see the growing pains. Yeah.
Because there will be some of that. I'm glad you brought that up because on the walleye side, more so than the bass side, I don't know if you guys are trollers or not or whatever, but for the trollers specifically, there's kind of a dance that goes on in that back of the boat, trying to run 6 lines and all that kind of stuff. That'll be interesting as you guys kind of getting to watch you guys kind of learn how that works.
Yeah. And especially with no real time to practice the trolling atmosphere. If you haven't really fished together like that in a tournament, you're gonna have to live when we start seeing trolling, you guys are gonna have to figure that out live. I mean, you can pre-fish before that time, but it's gonna be fun to watch how you guys, like Brian said, put together that dance.
Yeah, I'm not too worried. I mean, we work well together. Like you said, I mean, that whole week on Lake Hawaii, we sat down and talked all night, about our game plans, whatever else. We have a pretty similar philosophy on how we're going to approach things, and I think we work well together.
Yeah, and I think we're both honest and communicate well on the boat too. I think where some of that happens is where they don't want to communicate with each other. And I've been with partners there too, where you just don't communicate well on the boat and just don't know what each other's doing or what the expectations are. So
who gets the final decision?
Depends whose boat we're in.
That's true.
Are you guys gonna like flip-flop
Yeah,
boats
we're gonna
depending on
flip-flop.
events?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, because that is a thing, right? It's
Yeah.
gonna, I mean, especially with a 4-hour time slot, you're gonna get to the point where, and that's how teams work, right? Somebody's gonna want to go here, somebody's gonna want to go there, try whatever, and it's arm wrestle for it, whatever.
Right.
I think we'll assess it as what's best for our chances to do well in this event. And, you know, like he said, whoever's driving is going to end up having the final say, right? But at the end of the day, we're our team. You know, it's not individual.
Does that not sound like every football team before the beginning of the season?
Wait till the end. Right.
Wait till you're 5-4, 5-8. God damn it!
Well,
We're either going to be the Ravens or we're going to be the Carolina Panthers. There's no in between.
No, but it's good.
well, and in a way, like we haven't obviously got to the season yet, but you guys were appreciate you jumped in you filled the spot. We had a team back out and you guys jumped in, and so you're kind of you're like the rookie per se as we're going into the season, because we had the times or the roster set, lost a team, and you guys helped us out by joining in. So that's another cool part about it as well. And not fishing together, I think we're going to find out, Brian, that more teams, you know, maybe haven't spent as much time in the boat together, but it's going to be interesting to see. Like when we first came out with the team aspect, I wasn't a big fan of it way back when. And I was like, you know, we're so used to the solos. But then as the season progressed, I got to be more of a fan of it because of the communication that happens. Like in the past, when you fished it, Mitch, it was all you.
Yeah.
It was your mistakes, it was your great moves, everything like that. Now you have the ability to work with somebody and assess that and kind of communicate on what is the best move at this time. And like Brian said, with only 4 hours, I mean, talk about crunch time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, and for fan base too, it's really cool. It'll be cool to see how that communication happens, because there's plenty of team events where that communication happens. You don't know what goes into those decisions. So it's going to be a learning curve for those that are watching.
And I love the fact that we've got the same group fishing all season, because we're going to get to watch this all play out.
Yeah.
Right? The learning curves and the different decisions and all the fancy, hunky-dory stuff in the beginning of the season versus once you're struggling or maybe not or whatever, right? And getting to watch all of that happen is why I think people gravitate towards other sports.
Yep.
And I've always tried with head-to-head, try to build something that gets the average person to understand why we love tournament fishing.
Yeah.
Because all of those things go into it, but you just don't get to watch it. You know what I mean? Like nobody gets to see those late night talks over in Lake Oahe, and they don't understand all of the pieces that go into building what we all love to do on the water. And hopefully, I'm hoping head to head kind of brings some of that to light this year.
Yeah, I totally agree. Now, with us going from the 5-day format to the 1-day event, right? AM, PM, how does that work better or worse for your day-to-day lives? Like, I mean, because what do you do for a living?
I work at a nuclear plant.
Okay.
I work rotating shifts, so it's going to be different.
It's going to be a little different. What about you?
I work in staffing, so I have a flexible position, but it definitely makes it a lot easier for the work life and then home life. I mean, I've got 3 kids at home too, so Brian and I were talking about that, just having the ability to help out either in the morning or the afternoon.
Yep.
We jumped in pretty late, so it's a lot of time away from the family of just help out that's mostly regional, local, and I can help out at home.
Now, again, Mitch, with a 5-hour format, can you talk a little bit, and you'll figure that out. I'm saying with 5 hours in the past, thank
gotcha,
you.
okay.
Yep.
Sorry.
Now to the 4-hour format. When it was 5 hours, what did that do to you mentally and then, physically? Because you're normally fishing, 8 hours, guys, in a normal
absolutely.
event?
Yep.
Yeah.
What was it like after that? And now we lessened you by 1 hour even more.
It's a mental game. I mean, even signing up for it, having only 4 hours, it's a mental game. You got to be on fish right away. You got to make quick decisions. You got to go fast. That's really what it comes down to. And there's going to be decisions on Green Bay specifically to either go for big fish and go for a few bites, or go down there for a couple 2, 3, 4 pounders. And what can you do to be on fish the entire 4 hours?
Yep.
So.
Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about with that is we looked it up today, and out of the walleye side of it, what was it? 10 anglers are returning?
Yep.
Out
Out of the 18.
Yeah, I think it was on the walleye side. So that was
All the 20 means.
Yeah, 10 out of the 20. So now with that experience, have you been kind of telling him to what to expect? Because a lot of anglers too say the camera doesn't matter until the camera's in the boat. And what was it like to have that camera, and have you guys been discussing that, when lines are in on the first event?
Yeah, we haven't discussed it yet. And
No, we haven't.
I ignored the camera pretty well through that event. Other than the first day,
Because you're Aaron Rodgers and you're
I'm just used to it. Yeah. The first day I put him in some rough stuff, and I think he almost puked off the side. So I was worried about him being a little sick.
Fantastic.
But I mean, the cameramen that you guys have, the people that you bring in are awesome. They stay out of the way. They're quiet. They speak when they want to hear something from you guys. So it's easy to just get in the zone and get fishing, and then they'll just tap you if you're not.
Yeah, I think Kyle does a great job of coaching up the camera guys as to, because most of them aren't fishermen, of how, like, boat etiquette, right? And like what these guys are, like, they're mentally focused on stuff. It's kind of like filming a golf or a tennis match a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, talk when you're asked a question, talk when Andy, the producer, wants you to get something out of them. Otherwise, just let them kind of do their thing and be a ghost.
Well, it's so often too that we find that the camera operators become like, they're not only a fan of yours because they want you to do well, but then it helps when it was time when it was a solo events. You guys could always bounce stuff off of them. They couldn't answer you, they couldn't give you any information, but they became a part of the boat.
So honestly, that's what I'm excited about, having a partner in these kind of tournaments. I'm not saying that I can't make a decision for myself. I definitely can. But the nice thing about having somebody who's experienced in your boat, who does the same things you do and likes to do the same and has the same passion you do, and might think a bit different, is he'll talk me off the ledge. Hey, we need to move. No, why don't we take a minute? It's a nice yin and yang approach to having somebody with you in a boat.
Yep. How's the chat, Brian?
Monitoring.
Okay, we got any good questions or anything on there yet?
No, just everybody's just jacked for the season.
Well, and that leads into my next question is like, with the other events, you didn't have the ability to be live streamed or anybody to really see what's going on. How does that play into your family and friends? Because both of you guys have pretty notorious fathers in the walleye industry, right?
It's true. Yeah.
If you want to put it that way, right? But I mean, who's your dad?
Oh, Jerry Ruffalo.
I mean, a notorious angler in walleye fishing.
Professional tournament fishing for a long time.
This makes it sound bad.
Oh, does it? Is that the wrong? Is that true? Yeah. Well, he's the original OG. Right?
Yeah, he really is. Yeah, I mean, part of the reason we do this, right, and part is because that's what we've looked up to. I spent a lot of time on the other side of that stage looking up to my dad and other anglers. Tommy Scarless is another guy that, one of the reasons I do this, that was like a brother. And yeah, it's going to be really cool for my family to get to hop on Fixed TV and watch. You know.
Now, your dad is?
The original Brian Down. I have to say the original. There's two of them. Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, he's a great walleye angler on the Bago side as well.
Yeah, I mean, I spent a lot of time with him actually when I was a kid. It was all salmon fishing out of Sheboygan.
Oh, nice.
Then I kind of shifted over to Lake Winnebago, did a lot of trolling on Lake Winnebago back in the day when I was a kid. And then he got into some of the bar tournaments, the local tournaments. There's a ton of them regionally. And I think we just started to push each other to start fishing together more and fishing a little more serious together. So it's been fun to just share that journey with him and get in the boat with him as much as I can.
Have you guys fished a lot of tournaments with your dads?
Yeah, I mean, we used to fish club events. Actually, I run a small event every year. My dad and I fish together every year. Yeah.
That's awesome. And obviously you too.
Winnebago Walleye Series, that full series, I fish with my dad. So, and I plan to until my kids are old enough to fish it. I'd love to be able to just, once he wants to retire, bring a kid in and fish. So.
Yeah, and so many of the anglers have said in the past, like that's one of the great things about H2H is mom and dad, husbands, wives, whatever, they can all watch. And they don't have to just come to the weigh-ins to see what's actually going on. And now with our upgrade to Fixed TV, they can watch you all day long. So even if
they can only watch you if they want.
Right.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
The whole day is just on you. We're not on there, no commentators, no nothing, just you guys.
And that's a really cool part because, like, with the live streaming, there's certain parts that maybe they don't get to see, but when it's just your cameras only, they get to see everything going on throughout the day. So I mean, it goes back to like the friends, family, everybody can watch, and I think that only psych you out a little bit.
No, that's exciting, awesome. Man. That's really awesome.
Who's gonna have the swear jar then?
You guys, they didn't tell you that? You guys were literally live the entire day.
I figured it with the
put it in between us.
Yeah, right.
It's literally live all day.
Well, it's exciting. I mean, I have a lot of friends, a lot of family too. When I did the NWT, when I did the first head-to-head, I had a lot of people from work that just wanted to jump in and watch it for a little bit. So it's cool.
And as far as the swear jar, I don't even know if there's going to be one.
I need one.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the reasons Brian came up with Fixed TV. is because with head-to-head in the past, you know, being streamed to Facebook, there was certain criteria.
Well, they literally look to demonetize you for breathing the wrong way. So it's just got to have a different avenue.
Right. And it's not like we're condoning the swearing aspect of it, but I mean, we all know that's a part of the fishing day at times.
It's all emotional, right? It's all emotional. Losing a fish sucks. You know, I'm not going to try to go over the top or anything. I'm not a Mike Iaconelli style or anything, but yeah, I'm going to be disappointed if we lose one, especially a really good one. I mean, a difference maker.
Yep.
Well, but it's like anything. Like, again, kids, sports, whatever. Like when you're really invested into something, when you put a ton of time into practice and the prep work and the off-season harness tying and all of the things, when it comes down to everything worked except you didn't get it in the net.
Right.
There's a lot there that just comes out. It's not really planned. It's not right. Like it just all erupts all at the same time, and that's just the reality of it. And I think people need to understand that, right? Like every now and then, an athlete will slam his helmet on the ground. Is that great? No. Does he regret it most of the time? Yes.
Yeah.
But in the heat of the moment, it just comes out. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like hundreds and hundreds of hours put into this stuff. It just comes out.
And I'm sure it'll slip on us. I'm sure it'll slip on other boats too. I mean, it's not going to be absurd.
There will not be a single boat this year that it doesn't happen.
Well, and the other thing with that too is like music. Do you guys, when you're fishing, do you like have ever like certain tunes or certain like lists that you want to have, you know, play? In the past, we couldn't have music on the channel because it would, like Brian was saying, it would get taken off. Now you guys can rock out as much as you want, and that might help. You might fish a lot better that way.
I don't know if we've been in the boat before. I always have the radio on. Like I have something on in the background at least.
Yep.
Usually during like, well, when it's a shotgun start or some sort of a takeoff, I'm usually listening to music on the way too. So, but we won't have to do that as much with having a trailer event in this. But I love music in the boat. I don't know. Like we haven't even talked about that. It's a good question.
You know, it's funny. I mean, I'll listen to music sometimes, but if it's just me, it's hard.
quiet.
It's
See,
really,
we
really
already
pretty
got
quiet.
it.
But that's fine. I mean,
All of it.
Well, and again, like
Because I'm the same way. I'm like my wife and I can listen to music going to sleep. She wants the TV on. I'll stay awake all night when the TV's on.
okay.
It's the same crap, right?
Sure.
Well,
Some
and
people can't think when the radio's on. They have a hard time
well,
focusing.
yeah, like the biggest mom and dad when you're driving during a snowstorm, it's the first thing to go off.
Turn it down so you can see better.
Shut up! Turn the radio off.
Yeah,
It's like,
turn that down so you can see better.
what does that have to do with driving? You know, and then as you get into that, let's say it is like, now this guy likes rock, this guy likes country. I mean, that's another thing. I mean, it's a side note, it's fun, but that could help relax the day for maybe not for you.
absolutely. Well, it could though. It could. I mean, whatever takes that edge off
Split the
to.
team up before they ever leave here.
I don't think you got to worry about that.
Yeah.
What were you saying now?
It takes that. You know, sometimes it takes that edge off where you're just kind of okay. You know, keeps your head wherever it needs to be.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, going back to that first event in 2020, I think the first hour or two, you're like, oh my goodness, the camera's on me. I don't know what to say. I don't know what not to say. So I'm sure there's a moment in that first event where we will have some nerves just because there's a camera on you live, right? A little bit of music could take that pressure off.
really
We just got to
could.
get back to normal. Just go out and fish. That's what we enjoy doing.
Okay, so let's talk about the format itself, because obviously we're catch and release, you know, immediate release. That's a great thing. Conservation is huge, and especially in the walleye side. You know, it's one thing to come across the stage, show everybody your fish, but you get to show everybody the fish right away, and then they go right back for somebody else to catch. Now, the one thing that we went back and forth a lot on, and I wasn't for it.
I hate it when you do this. I never really know where you're going.
The live bait thing. Now, when you mentioned it before, in 2020, when you fished, we were artificials only. Now, this year, you guys can use live bait. I mean, what's the thought process on that? I know you have a little bit of experience, but do you normally fish a lot of live bait in most of your events?
I mean, it's all situational, right? It's springtime. If it's, our first event's in March, it could be 30 degrees outside. That live bait might be the difference between 10 bites and 2 bites. I'm okay with that. I actually like the thought of live bait, especially midsummer. I love pulling spinners. That's kind of my bread and butter, especially on Green Bay. So that's going to be something that I think plays well into our hands.
I'm going to talk out of both sides for a second, because that 2020 event being all artificial, it challenged me to find different artificial baits that'll work on the Bago system. And it made me a better angler just by forcing me through that 1 week of just thinking about that. But I mean, there's days on Bago where you just need to throw a crawler and go catch fish.
And I mean, you obviously kind of made the final decision.
Well, we threw that post out there. Actually, that poll we did is really what kind of solidified it.
Right.
My thing was trying to get the industry more behind innovation was really the deal, because like there's, on the bass side of things, there's a million different baits, tactics, whatever. The walleye world really doesn't have that. And when that really didn't happen, I just said, okay, well, screw it. We'll go back to night crawlers, I guess. I don't know, whatever. I mean, I can't.
When you get excitement when you're catching fish more often on live stream too, right? So like there's a balance.
It was more about trying to get the industry. It wasn't trying to penalize anglers. It was really more trying to get the industry to be like, hey, we can come up with some new stuff and do some things. And that wasn't there. Okay, fine, screw it. We'll go back to slip hoppers. I don't care. You know what I mean? That's really what it was about.
I mean, I think a lot of the anglers showed that you don't necessarily need it, but the other thing too is keeping live bait, alive for an 8-hour event could be tough. If it's 95 degrees out, now it's only a 4-hour event. Maybe it's not even an issue anymore. So I don't know. I'm up in arms on it. I don't know. It's.
Well, and like what you were saying too, the walleye industry is just so far leaps and bounds behind the bass industry. I mean, there's just not as much money in there. Eventually, I hope it gets there too. It's a great thought process, but it's just not there yet.
Not even close.
Yeah.
Well, and I was honestly, I was told that that's not going to happen. So I just said, okay,
I don't doubt that. Yeah.
And this platform, with the things that are going on right now with the walleye tournament industry, this is a great time for you guys as anglers in the head-to-head to kind of turn things around. To, maybe knock a couple blemishes off. Is there any added pressure, do you feel, with things that happened last year going into this year, maybe in head-to-head or in any other walleye events?
I mean, for me, like I said, I had a terrible season last year. This is a great start to redemption from last year. And I don't know. What are your thoughts, man?
Got a chip on my shoulder from one tournament last year. We were in 3rd place in the Master Walleye Circuit on Green Bay and didn't catch right fish, drop back down out of the money basically. So it's exciting to just get back out there, compete against the level anglers that we are, and go prove ourselves, do it live, have some fun while doing it.
Guys that fish tournaments, how do you guys feel about this win-loss thing versus, it's like mini tournaments within the whole season or whatever, but it's really more about kind of winning that match and moving on and everything. Do you think that it's not going to play as far as long-term thought process, but like, how do you guys feel about that as far as kind of how the season's going to come out, right? It's like you could literally win one match by 40 pounds and it doesn't mean jack squat next week.
Right. Well, and that's, and it's like fantasy football, right? I could play you and I could score 180 points. You can score 181 and I can beat every other team this week and you can beat me,
I've always loved that part of sports.
Right, but I do like that. I mean, we're going to be head to head against a team, right? And
the best part about fishing too, in my opinion, I've always had this thought process, is you're going out there to catch the biggest bag of fish that you can, right? Give yourself the best odds. So for me, it's awesome. The format's awesome just to have a season and then going into the qualifier and a championship. Yeah. But at the end of the day, every tournament that we're going out there or day that we're going out there fishing, just going to catch as many fish and put as much weight on the board as we can.
Right.
See, it'll be interesting when we get the interviews when you had the second highest weight of the day, but lost your match. When this other guy won his match with 20 pounds less than you. Because that's what the tournament mindset is, right? Like, I had the second best, I should be second. Well, you lost. So
but mentally, at the end of the day, that's not something we can think about when we're in the boat, right? It's me against the fish. It's us against the fish. And sometimes some guys get them, if I take second on a day, I'm going to be disappointed. Don't get me wrong. I want to win. I want to win. Right.
That's the best part.
I want to win every time.
Yep.
But you know what? If guys beat me, guys beat me.
And I've always like related that back to the NFL, right? Like Packers Bears played a blizzard and they win by 3 and it was 6-3 or whatever. And the Eagles and somebody are playing in a dome and they put up 80 combined points. Well, there's a winner and a loser to move on. It just don't matter.
Just can call it any given Wednesday.
Yeah.
Any given.
There you go.
It's so foreign from a fisherman's mindset, right? It's like I had the best weight or the second best weight, I should be second. Well, yeah, you lost.
Yep.
Like, moving on, take the L, and you know what I mean? But I think that's part of like this whole thing is getting people to just. It's just not what you want. It's just not a tournament. It's a show. It's a reality show. It's a league. Yeah. You win and you lose. Softball leagues are like that, right?
Same way.
All sorts of guys play in bar league softball leagues.
Yep.
One game you win by 20 and the other team wins by 10. You still both won. It doesn't matter.
Well, I think all these teams too, the main goal is to get to the bracket play. The main goal is to get to the tournament. So
100%.
8 boats make it. You just got to look forward to the next week if you put a big weight up and lose.
It almost makes you have to swing for the fences every event, right? Like,
Oh, absolutely. That's got to be your mindset, right? Your mindset is to catch as many fish as you can.
Yep.
Put as many pounds of fish in that boat as you can every single time out.
Yeah. Now, how does it? Because like in other events, it's either your 3 or 5, right? Your 5 best fish or your 3 best fish. Now this one, it's every fish above 1 pound counts. Now, is that playing into your mindset at all? Like, because like normally you got to go target the biggest fish you absolutely know you can. Now you can go sit on a spot and crack 45 1-pounders and still have 45 pounds of weight. That's gonna, as your game set. I mean, as we get into the middle part of summer, that strategy's got to come into play at some time.
Absolutely, especially, I mean, springtime in the river, these fish can group up. You can get 15 fish in an hour. It could be, it could be detrimental to your day if you're not on the right pot of fish, and it could really make you a hero too.
What are your strong suits? So like going into this event, obviously there's the casting side of walleye fishing, there's a trolling side. What would you say, Brandon, is your strong suit?
I mean, like I said, I love trolling. I love spinners. I'm getting a lot better. I'm forcing myself just about every time out to be staring at a live scope or to be casting every time. So I feel like I've made a lot of improvements. I've done a lot of learning over the last couple of years. But yeah, if I could troll every day of the week, I'd do it for sure.
And do you think you'll troll it all in the Fox early on?
I can't say no because we don't know, but I wouldn't expect to, but you never know.
Right, with the congestion of the number of boats, it makes it a lot
Water temp and water clarity will decide all.
That is fully correct. That is 100% correct. Yeah, it does.
Right. Well, Mitch, your side of your strong suits?
If you asked me back in 2020, it was probably trolling 90% of the time. And I think since then, I've just put a rod in my hand majority of days just to get better at it. So I would say it's a horse apiece. I mean, whatever way we can catch fish.
There's big advancements in technology since 2020.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
as soon as he said he was from the Lake Michigan side of the world, growing up there, I knew the trolling thing is. That's from my background, those two. So,
right.
Yeah, that's just what you do.
Yeah. I mean, I had to force myself. I had to leave trolling rods at home multiple days just so I could force myself to go jig. Because
I was the same way. So we've only got a couple minutes left here. The one question that was asked, and I think it's a really good one, the Waylife tracker, meaning you guys can know the score of the match at all times. Is that something you care about? Is that something you don't even think about because you're just kind of fishing your fish that day? I kind of find that as a really interesting question as far as like, because me personally, I want to know. If I'm 5 pounds back, I'm going to make different decisions. This whole fishing my fish is a bunch of crap.
I can't remember what's the rule on that. Do they get an update every hour or
live?
They get it anytime they enter fishing, they can see what their competitor has, right?
I think it depends on your confidence level too. I mean, you can, whether you think your fish are going to go or not, you have to pay attention to it. If someone's 5 pounds ahead of you and you can go catch 5 1-pounders,
especially in 4 hours, like you don't have a lot of time to get 10, 15 pounds back.
Yeah, you have to pay attention to it.
That'll be interesting to see how that plays out this year.
We'll probably make bad decisions because of it, but you have to pay attention to it.
As designed.
And obviously, like that's the other thing is, are you going to ask every once in a while? Like, say it's been a minute since you've entered a fish, you don't know what your competitor has. Are you guys going to ask, or are you just going to stay to the grind and just do your thing?
I have to imagine we're going to stay to the grind and do our thing. I mean, that's the best way to keep advancing, right? Yeah. Keep doing well, keep putting more fish in the boat.
If it's a close match, there may be times where we want to ask and we want to see where we're at. Down to a wire 1 hour.
Do you think your pre-fishing will change a little bit, knowing you might need some 1-2 pound spots just to play the numbers game? Because the other guy might hit a number spot early and we'll crap her down 10 pounds.
Well, and there's no dink fest this year either. So
with the 1-pounder part, like knowing like, because if a guy gets on him on a reef or lower part of the bay and he's just cranking them, you're going to be in a hole really fast, especially with 6 lines in the water. You know, is that going to change your mindset in practice a little bit, you think, versus like, you know, MWC or whatever, I'm going to go catch my big 5?
100%,
yeah, absolutely.
It'll be interesting.
All right. So out of the field of anglers that we have, is there one team you're excited to fish against? And then
he almost knew this was coming.
Yeah.
He's like, oh.
And on the flip side of that, is there a team that you're not excited to fish against?
There's so many good anglers, man.
And you don't have to sugarcoat this.
No,
like, you're not looking like
that's not sugar. That's real.
Spade here.
That's real. There are so many good anglers. I love Mikey Lewis. He's a friend of mine, and Ryan Foster. Those guys are great anglers. I'd love to fish against them, and I also don't love fishing against them, so that'll be a good one for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nectarline's always great. I mean, he's a good angler. He's focused all the time. I haven't figured out when I should have looked, but when we're matching up with them to see if we have good odds against them. But that's one that I'm a little bit worried about, but excited.
Yeah, we'll be getting that posted pretty quick. We're revamping the entire head-to-head website.
Yep.
So once we get that done, the whole season schedule, weekly schedule will be so everyone can see who's playing who when.
Well, and that goes into the AM, PM, right? That's the seasonal side
Right.
of it. There's some time of the year where you want that PM side
Absolutely.
of it, and you
but
may draw
bite
the AM.
windows are a big deal,
Well,
especially
that's
in
gonna-
springtime.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, you're
That's going
fine.
to change practice too.
Sure.
Is
For
making
sure
sure you got
affect
that afternoon bite figured out.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting.
Andy's talking to me. Okay, so outside of head-to-head, what are some of your other hobbies? You can't fish every day of the week, even though you hope you can, right? What other things do you guys find to do outside of the fishing world?
I mean, we both hunt a lot. I bow hunt a lot. I'm going to give the right answer and say I spend a lot of time with my wife. Yeah. I do.
He's already amped
Yeah,
the camera.
yeah.
This guy knows all the right answers right now.
He does. I've been watching that.
I work a lot, man. So anytime away from work, having some drinks with friends, fishing, hunting, even just fun fishing. We have a pond in our yard, giant bluegills. It's hard to beat that.
Right.
I do a lot of bird hunting, a lot of upland hunting. Got 2 bird dogs, got German short hair, German wire hair. So getting them out as much as possible, and then getting my kids out fishing, getting my kids out hunting. We do some camping in the summer up in Shawano Lake. So just spending some time with the family.
Do you take the kids out as much as you can fishing as well? I think you guys both kind of hit on that, but I mean, when you're not tournament fishing and you are fun fishing, do you try to get, well, you don't have your wife
Not
or
yet,
whatever.
not yet.
Right, but like you got, how do you fish with your wives? Let me ask you that.
Well, we fish tournaments together. She's probably more cutthroat than I am. She's pretty awesome.
Always.
She is. She's real competitive. It's impressive.
Is there a chance for like, we might see her as a sub if we needed a sub at any point?
I'm not sure. I don't think so, but you never know.
Maybe, yeah, could happen. For me, my wife would rather read a book in a pontoon boat. So. But my kids will fish all day long. Like I can bring my son out. He'll be sitting on the dock at Shawano Lake just casting for little bluegill all day. I'll get bored. I'll go back in, get something to eat, grab a drink, and he'll still be out there. So.
Now, I was going through your guys' kind of your history on stuff, and I was noticing something, Mitch, on your side. Are you a coach? Do you coach volleyball, or
Yeah.
do you help with volleyball?
Yeah, so assistant coach for varsity at Manitowoc Lutheran High School. I coached when I got out of college. I coached for a few years, got busy with family, so I got back into it this year. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. And now, I think you were a wrestler.
I was, yeah. I coached a little bit just after high school, but my work schedule doesn't really allow that anymore.
Yeah.
But
And then Brian and I, we both coach.
Coach a little bit.
Brian coaches a little bit. I've coached a little bit too, but like the determination of the wrestling side of it all. Like I've never wrestled in high school. I didn't do any of that, but some of the most hard-nosed, cutthroat guys were wrestlers. Like determination-wise, like I don't want to put it up. And I know, Brian, I'm not going to
I'm a
speak.
huge fan of wrestling.
Huge fan of wrestling. So like a guy like that, I mean, you're. I don't know if I'd want to see you on the water. That's intimidating, just knowing that you have that wrestling background, and like, if it's me or you, I'm winning on this side.
yeah, you need that mental toughness. There's a reason Brandon Polinick's so good, and he attributes a lot of that to the way he, he wrestled for a long time. Same thing. I think you need that mental toughness, especially in this format. Like this format could totally wreck you mentally. You could be down 5 pounds in the first 10 minutes. That could totally ruin your day.
There's no such thing as a mentally weak wrestler.
No.
Maybe when they're younger, but once you get into the middle school, high school, college ranks, there's no such thing as a mentally weak wrestler. They don't exist.
Yeah.
They just don't. You can't.
Well, the flip side of that too, the coaching side of it all.
Sure.
As a coach, whether it's wrestling or volleyball or football or basketball, whatever the hell it is, like in order to how to scheme on the fly but yet convey that to everybody else, that plays a big part in life in general. But it's only going to go hand in hand with fishing. Mm-hmm. So that's together, like with you guys both having a little bit of coaching experience. I mean, it's just going to help you guys. I foresee it to be a really strong team going into the year. And with that kind of background, it's only going to help you out.
Absolutely. I mean, I've seen Mitch fish. He's just as intense as anybody else. We'll communicate well, I think. That's where even us just starting out as tournament partners, I think the better you communicate, the better you work through each other instead of against each other, the better you're going to be.
Well, that sports background, it's just the competitive nature, like knowing when to pivot, giving yourself the best odds to be able to go out there and win. And it sucks to lose. It does. You're going to lose, but it sucks to lose. So.
Bananas in the boat, bananas not in the
Never.
boat.
I don't care.
Not a chance.
I'm not super.
Really? So you are is there any
I'm
other
breaking one.
superstitions?
I got a lucky Ranger hat that if when we make the championship, that can come out. But until then, it can't come out. It's got like 47 holes in it, and I don't even own a Ranger anymore. But that one comes out for really special occasions.
Okay. So we might, if we see the Ranger hat, we know it's a
You would
spirit.
have banana. Every time
Well,
you get the chance, you
I
wanna
can't
talk about
believe
damn bananas.
Andy Cleveland freaking won't. If you bring a banana and like as we filmed,
He's literally taking you to shore.
oh yeah, like and to me, I don't get it. I don't understand it. Right? Like if you're worried about a banana in your boat,
It's an old thing, man.
right? But
I don't need that. I don't need that bad juju in the boat. Bananas
Well,
are
what other
gone.
things may it be? If it's not the banana, like, is there something? Are you guys like meticulous? To you got to have like this, and this on tournament day?
Meticulous. I mean, organized. I would
Right,
say.
that's the biggest one. I mean, anybody who's organized is going to be a better tournament angler, I feel.
Yeah. Superstitious? No, I'm not superstitious.
Not
I'll be eating the banana on the first event.
See, I don't
throw
feel
me
like
out.
I'm superstitious, but I'm not superstitious.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like I will purposely like if things are rolling, I'll try to keep it kind of the same. Like
Right.
you know, just in case.
So there's a comment. Travis Goss, one of our camera guys, says he's going to be excited to bring some bananas.
Oh boy.
It is. It's like as we I help film for the MPFL, and it's crazy like how some of these guys are like, what do you got? You know, what are your snacks today? What do you you know? Don't bring it in my freaking boat, otherwise you won't be in my boat for very long. And it's funny. The banana one is, but okay. Besides the banana, what are your go-to boat snacks?
Meat sticks and cheese, always. Yeah, that's a staple.
Do you think you'll go to those during a 4-hour
Not a
event?
chance.
You
We don't need snacks for 4 hours, no.
I barely even eat in 8 hours. Like I bring a snack or I bring a lunch and I just forget about it. I don't even eat till I get back.
Yeah.
So
Man, I can't go a couple hours without eating clearly, and then taking a leak too. Like
Yeah, we're all aware of your bathroom issues, Matt. Thank you.
Now we will get ice cream after if we do well.
Nice.
That's
Oh, yeah.
ice cream after is that's a deal.
it's a staple.
that's
Yeah.
the reward.
Yep. Yeah. You catch a couple walleyes, you deserve ice cream for the day.
Perfect.
Fantastic.
All right, so as we wrap this one up, this is your opportunity to talk about family, friends, and then some sponsor shout outs if you guys want to
Sure.
do that.
You want to go first? Go ahead.
Sure. Yeah. No, first and foremost, I appreciate my wife because I had a booked season already. And then I brought the head-to-head season to her. And she's like, if you want to go do it, go ahead and do it. So she takes care of a lot. We've got 3 kids at home, Logan, Hayden, Tegan is our 6-week-old. So that's been a lot of fun. We'll have them watching. My dad, obviously, Brian Down, he'll be vocal on social media. So you'll be hearing from him, I'm sure. But other than that, just appreciate my sponsors. I work with Ken Sports up in Green Bay, run a Camus through them, Mercury Marine, Church Tackle, Blackfish, Relevant Sunglasses, St. Croix Rods.
Yeah. I mean, obviously my wife, I can't thank her enough. My tournament season is insane. I think I've got like 20 booked this year.
Not
Including this, but still, it's a lot. So it's a lot on her, and I appreciate her so much. My mom and dad, any extended family and friends that are watching, and I'm excited. Hopefully, we can put on a show for them. Church Tackle with Mitch, Ducket Rods, Striker Brands, Wapsie Lure. I have a Vexus that I bought through Midwest Marine in Missouri. So shout out to the guys in Missouri, and obviously Mercury Marine too.
Perfect. Well, we appreciate you guys starting to meet the anglers. It's a lot of fun, and I think the fans appreciate getting to know you two a little bit more. They're going to have plenty of time this year to get to know this team. Now, if you had to come up, we have about 30 seconds. If you had to come up with a team name,
Jesus.
do you think you got one, or are we going to determine that as the season progresses?
Oh man.
You got to. I love your creativity. Bobcats. I'll go Bobcats. I don't know.
Are you okay
It's
with
got
that?
thrown
Right.
in there.
If that's what you want,
You've got to come up with one. And I'm sure it's got to come up
We're
after the first
pretty
2
good
events.
at.
Come up with them on the fly.
We'll come up with it on the fly.
We got to do it on the fly. It's got to be something on the fly. It's got to happen.
It's got to just.
It's got to be organic.
Okay. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for joining us for the first Meet the Angler. We got another one coming up, I think, next week right away. And then we have our H2H podcast starting again next week at 9 o'clock. Follow these guys along on your social media, and we'll see you next week.